Okay, welcome back to installment number 2 of indoor gardening. Today I'm going to talk about microgreens. I grew microgreens last year and it was a lot of fun, and it's amazing how quickly you can have food to eat right out of your own house in the middle of the winter. For some reason, I'm just now starting that this year. I think I was enjoying just taking a break from the garden altogether, but now I'm antsy and I'm ready to be growing my own greens instead of buying them at the grocery store. So I have got out my microgreen kit. I'm going to show you what I'm going to start in my kitchen. I don't have my actual grow racks up yet, but I will be getting those up here in the next week because I'm going to be getting ready to start growing my plants for the outside garden. So if you haven't grown microgreens, it's super easy. You might need to buy a few things to kind of get started, but there's all different ways that you can do it. I'm going to show you the way that I've done it, but I will give you another way that you can do it if you choose not to do it the hydroponic way. So I grew microgreens through a hydroponic system, which basically means I'm using it without a soil medium. I'm only using water, and that was amazing because it was so much less work in a sense, and it was also a heck of a lot less dirty. So I got my kit through True Leaf Market. And I actually love their website because there's so much that they offer, I feel like at a really good price. You can get all kinds of trays. That's where I got all of my trays that I start my seeds in. I got this microgreen set. These little guys are what I actually grow my microgreens in, and this is the hydroponic flat. I can't think of what the actual pad maybe is the word that they use, that sets inside of here that the microgreens grow on. But if you're looking for drainage trays or the trays that fit inside the trays, now see, I'm blanking all of a sudden if the drainage tray is the one the water comes through or if it's the one that catches the water. Either way, you can get both of them at True Leaf Market, along with a lot of other supplies that are great for starting your plants indoors, your seeds, microgreen sprouts, and there and beyond. So just a shout out to True Leaf Market. Let's see, yep. So these are their microgreen seed packets that I got, and I got a whole set. I couldn't tell you how much because it was last year, but it was a really good price. Actually, it may have been 2 years ago, now that I think about it. But either way, these seeds are still great, and they come in these really nice packets with tons of seeds in here so that you can grow these microgreens. You can also get microgreen seeds really anywhere these days. Any nursery, any company seems to be selling microgreens because they are a thing. And they're a thing because they're super fun. They're really healthy for you because all that nutrition that's in that plant is stuffed into these little itty bitty leaves. So what you're gonna do, the hydroponic way, is you will get, depending on the company that you choose from, these little pads that are gonna hold the moisture for the seed and allow the seed to germinate and then sprout. And they will literally grow in these little pads until you eat them. And you may be wondering, how are they getting the nutrient? Like, how are they able to do that? Well, part of it's because their lifespan as a microgreen is way shorter than what they would be as a full plant. They don't need all the nutrition that a plant that's actually gonna be going out in the garden or that you're gonna use to cut from on a regular basis, like an herb, or like the lettuce plants that I grew in the last video. They don't need all of that to be a microgreen. They really just need a few weeks, some water, and something for their roots to grab onto, and that's what this is for. So I have these little trays. I'm gonna put the little hydroponic pad down in there, and then this is super easy, and this is the part that I love. I have growing early wonder beets and sunflower seed sprouts, which are really, all of these are really healthy for you, but sunflower seed sprouts are especially healthy. I'm blanking on the actual nutrient that they're known for. I should know this, I'm a nutritionist, but too much information in my brain right now, but they are really good for you and they taste really good. These are arugula, because I absolutely love arugula. And the last one I'm doing, I believe, is the Waltham broccoli. So I'm growing 4 different types. And when you're doing this, you are going to basically spread out the seeds on your little pad evenly. And you're going to put quite a few in there. I'll show you with my camera here in a second. You want them to be pretty much in a single layer. You don't want your microgreens stacked on each other. This is sort of the same idea if you're doing sprouts. You want a single layer of seeds on that hydroponic pad, but you can do quite a bit. And if you're using a seed starting soil mix, you can do that. You will basically just take a tray that has drainage, and it can be a tray like this that has drainage. It can be a larger square tray like this, all the way up to your bigger rectangular trays like this. It just depends on how much you're wanting to grow. You could even do it in an eggshell carton if you wanted to. Okay, so you can see here I have my hydroponic pads in the thing. The first thing you want to do is you want to get them wet. And the reason for that is because you don't want to be getting them wet once you have your seeds in here all perfectly placed. This will also allow your seeds to grab a hold of these pads instead of falling through the holes or moving all over within the container. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my water in there. I'm gonna try to make sure that these separate squares are sitting flat, because I have seen, since these aren't very heavy, that one corner will come up and the other corner will not, and then one area won't get water as well. So now that they're moist, they're evenly moist, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting my seeds in, and I'm going to label them so I know exactly what is going where. So I've got arugula and broccoli, and I've got some broccoli seeds right here that fell out. I'll have my beets here and my sunflowers. My sunflowers here. So let's just go ahead and start broadcasting these into the little trays. I believe this is my arugula seed. Yep. So as best I can, I'm going to try to broadcast these pretty evenly in one single layer onto the hydroponic pad. I might have to shift it here so that I can get it on evenly. You want to try as best you can not to have a thick layer, like a double layer, because you want each of the seeds to have contact with the wet pad. So that one's good. Let's move on to the broccoli. Make sure I keep my label here because Okay, so here's the broccoli, the darker seed. And I can see that this is raising up on this side, so I'm gonna try to keep the seed over here and not so much in that corner where it looks like it's gonna raise up. And that'll be good. There's the broccoli. Now I've got sunflower in this corner back here. These are much, much bigger, so they'll spread out. You won't grow as many, and they're easier to kind of spread out. They will probably also require a little bit more water. And then last but certainly not least are the beets.
Yay! Sorry.
These are about a medium-sized seed in comparison to the others. Keep going here. That is good. So that is really it. You want to give it just like a little shake here, kind of get things evened out. Again, because your pads are wet, the seeds are going to grab a hold of them and not flail all over the place. I'm going to try to kind of even these out in particular. The rest of them look pretty good. I actually might put a few more broccoli in here. Make sure I get the most out of this. There's a lot of white space. It could just be the pad. So once you've done that, you're going to put a cover, and I have basically another bottom just like this. I'm going to set on top until they have germinated, which will take anywhere from 2 to 10 days, depending on the plant variety I have here. And that's really it. You want to make sure when you're doing this that you're checking the water fairly often, because they're only growing on that little pad. It has a tendency to dry out really quick. And so if that dries out, then your seeds are not going to be able to germinate or sprout appropriately. So you just want to be checking underneath, I would say each square, if you're growing it like this. So I have 4 separate squares. I'm going to want to make sure that each individual unit is getting enough water. If you're growing just one thing, it's going to be a lot easier to maintain. You don't want to drown them because they'll mold, but you do want to make sure that it's moist, because that's how they'll sprout and germinate. And again, I'm just going to cover this up. until they germinate, and then I will put them under lights, the same lights that I have my smoothie greens in my kitchen. I have two separate little things, so one's going to be over my smoothie greens and one's going to be over my microgreens, and that's it. Basically, once they sprout, their roots will either grow in your seed starting medium, if that's what you've chosen to use, or they'll get all tangled up within that hydroponic pad. And when they shoot up, you're looking for that cotyledon, which is like the seed leaves to sprout, and then possibly their first set of true leaves. And then there you go. You can snip them off. You can put them on a salad. You can put them in a sandwich. You can put them in your soup. And if you're like me, you can just eat them plain. And that can happen all within a 1 to 2 week period, depending on the variety of seed that you're growing. So you can have something fresh and basically straight out of your indoor garden in your house ready to eat within 1 to 2 weeks, or 3 depending on the variety, but generally within 2 weeks. So welcome to microgreens. They're a lot of fun, they're super easy, and they're super good for you. So I highly suggest you just grab any seed that you have probably now, especially the greens. If you have like lettuce green seeds, I have a ton of lettuce green seeds I could use. Radish seeds are great for this. Broccoli, cabbage, arugula. I've got a spicy mustard mix. There's all kinds of seeds that you could use to do microgreens. And in fact, I think I'll include a list down below in the comments so you can see what you have on hand right now that you can go and grow some microgreens in. All right, thanks for being here. Just remember that if you're interested in learning more about starting plants from seeds, you can catch my Seed Starting 101 class on my website, pepperandpinedesign.com, in the workshops tab. That class starts next Thursday, January 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for $20, or you can buy the whole winter season workshop together for $85. It's a 15% discount, and you can get that discount by subscribing to my newsletter. You can also get my first workshop for free, the recording of it, for free by subscribing to my newsletter as well, and I will try to put that link below in the comments. Thanks for being here, and make sure you caught my easy winter green workshop earlier and my seed sprouts that I'm doing in the next installment. We'll see you soon.